So the ecosystem that exists around you, in your family, in your home, in your career, will transform around your
Mhm.
transformation without you lifting a finger on anybody else. Yeah. And so we just have to grow. That's our only job.
Hello, and welcome to Intimacy Evolution. I'm Brianna Carey, one half of this show that I co-host with my husband, Mark. If you're new to our show, we're so excited to have you join us. And if you are not new, welcome back. And thank you for your continued support in listening to our podcast. Today's show was such a delight because I had the honor to interview my very first coach that I've ever worked with. And in a way, she is who helped me with some major breakthroughs and actually pinpointing what my life's purpose is. And that is to beam. I know that probably sounds so ridiculous, but I love it so much because it actually has two meanings. And the first is to be a light for others, to beam or be a light for those that need it. And the other is to be a beam, which in construction, a beam is used to connect and or to be a support. So in my case, being a beam for others, I'm helping to bring connection, whether that's in coaching or community, or it's me helping to support individuals in various aspects of their journey. I actually haven't thought about this one in a while, so it's really beautiful to be reminded of it and to reflect on it at this stage of my journey. So our guest for today, Abigail, is a heart-centered entrepreneur, the CEO of Hearts Unleashed, founder of Hearts Unleashed House Publishing, a clarity coach, host of the Hearts Unleashed podcast, and a best-selling author. Y'all, I could go on and on about all of the things that she does and how amazing she is. The flow of this entire conversation was so magical. I cannot wait for you all to hear it. So here you go. Welcome back to Intimacy Evolution. I am very excited to, I'm already going to cry for our guest today, Abigail Gazda. And Abigail was the very first coach that I've ever worked with. She's a clarity coach. She is an author. She's an amazing human being. And I am just, it almost feels like kind of a surreal full circle moment for me. I don't know, so getting to share your wisdom with our listeners. And so, yeah, I will go ahead and let you share yourself, your journey. And then we'll kind of delve into what we're going to talk about.
Awesome. I'll try to keep that short, sweet, and concise. Thank you for having me, Brianna. I'm so excited to be here. It brings me so much joy to witness you fulfilling more of what you've declared, the sex and intimacy coach and the podcast and sharing your relationship, sharing from your own relationship breakthroughs. It's all really beautiful and such a blessing to the world, to those who get to listen. So one, I'm honored to be here. And two, I'm just so happy that you've accepted your invitation to impact humanity in such a beautiful way. So it's really awesome.
Yeah.
Myself, I for the sake of this podcast and whatever conversation we'll end up in, I'll tell a little bit of like my relationship history, simply because that's very much what got me here. I was living a very fine life. And for those of you listening to the audio, I'm using air quotes, living a very fine life, the career, the house, the husband, the, accomplished general life on the outside and on paper. And I was with my husband in relationship for 6 years. And after 6 months of marriage, he said that he had made a mistake. He didn't want to be married. He even was very kind to me, very complimentary, like you're a great wife, you're very supportive and generous and kind and all of that. I just don't want this. I don't want to be married. And that absolutely broke me. Like shattered my entire reality, my entire identity, and that set me on a new trajectory. It set me on a lot of grief, like a year or more of chaos in my mind and my heart, a lot of shedding,
Mm.
releasing, questioning, a ton of questioning. I
Yeah.
know that my family and friends were very concerned for me. I started to self-medicate. I was using alcohol and marijuana to really cope instead of, especially in the very beginning, the first couple months, I just checked out and then doubled down on work. And it was not healthy. And so that was in 2016. And so we're here in the real time. This is 2022. So 6 years later, I've spent, 6 years on a self-love journey. And I've mostly swore myself single throughout that time.
Mhm.
I've had some relationships. I've even had another, what I would call a marriage. We did a spiritual ceremony. We didn't file the paperwork because we were on a 5-month road trip. I am a nomad, very much a nomad. I live in a van, trying to keep this concise and not confusing. But so I've had a few other relationships, but this journey has just been, it has strictly been a journey of self-love, of finding myself, of accepting myself. Now, even when I date, I know who I am and I know I don't have to morph away from who I am
Mm.
to be loved, to be lovable, to give my
Mhm.
love. And so wherever we go in this conversation today, I would love for people to know that you get to be you and you get to be loved being you. You do not have to morph away from who you are. I've done it
Mhm.
enough times that I also can catch myself when I'm doing it now and love myself gracefully as I come back home to center. So
Yeah.
that's as good as I could get that one.
I love it. And you touched on so many good points there. And especially that last one where um, I feel like as we grow and, relationships that are modeled to us and just
Mm,
having to constantly, especially with social media now, right?
mm,
This younger generation is constantly feeling like they have to morph and adapt to fit in.
mm-hmm.
And so not knowing self, and then you start getting into relationships
Yep.
without knowing yourself. And so I
Yep.
love that you touched on that. And it's never too late to, go in more inward and, do self reflection and personal development. And it's okay to change, even if you're in a relationship currently.
Yeah.
Find
Yeah.
out who you are. Cause I've personally done that a lot.
Yes.
And Mark and I have been together for 15 years, and
Yes.
that is the whole thing. We evolve as human beings. Naturally,
Yes.
relationships are going to evolve as well. And
Totally.
so I love that you touched on that. And I know just a little bit that you said you would like to share during our conversation today is um, in relation to our podcast about sexual healing and the journey that you've been on there. So,
Yeah. Oh, I would love that.
yeah.
I, I, yes. I'm going to take the long way around that answer because you said something that was really important, which was the younger generation and
Mm.
the pressures that they feel, and how online dating has is a major component of the dating experience at this age
Mhm.
and time in life, this time in humanity, and how fast food like it might seem, like
Mhm.
instant
Instant
gratification.
gratification.
Right, exactly. And so they're growing up in a world where they have no reference for, and us too. We are the first round of sort of digital natives that it's been we're actually the last generation where half of our life was without technology and the second half was. So
Mhm.
now everyone underneath us is submersed in technology.
Yeah.
So that just adds a new component to the thing, and especially the pressures of being someone you're not, or trying to be someone lovable, acceptable, seeking validation. I mean, the list goes on, and finding yourself is going to be the most rewarding because you really
Mhm.
get to select your life from there, as opposed to like trip into a life you feel like you might not have picked.
Mhm.
And So yes to that, because I spent 12 years in back-to-back relationships from like, you know, sophomore of high school through marriage. When I
Mm-hmm.
got divorced was when I really turned around and took a look at my patterning and was like, I have probably only ever spent a couple months single, you know, for the last 12 years. And
Yeah.
just, I was always filling that void with boyfriend. It was always Abby and her, whoever her boyfriend was at that time,
Yeah.
her husband. And then the last thing I wanted to say to what you just said was, uh, you can grow with multiple people, like as you grow relationship,
Mm-hmm.
and you can grow in the singular relationship. With that being said, grow as you go. Like
Mm.
you can, there's a song, it's called Grow As We Grow As We Go. And it's like, one, it's adorable to listen to it,
Yeah.
but it's just so beautiful that you don't have to leave each other
Mm.
to find yourself, and you can separate and come back and
Yeah.
like expand and contract. And I think that that's really beautiful, and I've seen that you guys are hosting podcasts together, and I think
Mhm.
that's really special. So
Thank
I
you.
wanted to say that. And ooh, let's talk about sex, sexuality, that journey. I need to say that whole 12-year thing I mentioned. I was probably 28 years old when I realized or learned and truly internalized sex does not equal love.
Mm.
And that was a epic awareness, but also pretty painful because I had seen my own patterns of how I used my body or my attractiveness to attract sex or
Mm.
boyfriends, right?
Mm.
And I want to use, I'm saying sex, but I also do mean like infatuation, right?
Yeah.
Like lust. Lust is not love either. And so knowing that someone who's physically attracted to you, or they might even be attracted to like your so-called character, right?
Mm.
But if you don't know who you are, they might be attracted to someone they don't know who you are, and you don't know who you are. So it's
Yeah.
very confusing. So I just after my first divorce, and I did a rebound relationship, and that one was really eye-opening and messy, to say the
Mm.
least. And
Yeah.
that taught me a lot about sex does not equal love. It can just be that people are interested in the physical activity, right?
Yeah.
And so especially when you're using it to fill a void in your heart, like I might have been or
Mm-hmm.
was, uh, it can cause even more identity stuff,
Mm.
more
Yeah.
self-worth issue, more
Yeah.
questioning. And so navigating that was challenge it's still challenging to this day. 6 years later, like I'll date and I am very I'm searching for the best word. I don't know if I have it at this moment, but like hesitant, but it's not about being scared and skittish. It's about being intentional. I'm very intentional
Okay. Yeah.
about sexual activity,
Mm.
and because I do want meaningful relationships. I have run the whole gamut. Like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, screw it. Can I cuss on here? Because I want to say,
Oh
fuck it.
yeah. Oh yeah. Please.
Casual relationships to I want to be married again. Like the whole range of what I want relationship to be like in my life or what I want interactions with people. Because throughout that time, I also discovered I'm bisexual, that and I love that. However, I
Mm-hmm.
have different relationships. I feel more this way with men and more this way with women. And
Yeah.
so I'm going to let you take the reins here because I could go in circles because it's been a very
Yeah.
long and intricate journey.
I love it. And I was making some notes. So, a couple of things that, well, one, using sex, your body to, seek validation and outside approval, right? But then also, I like your intentionality concept. But what I find is women that are going through a separation, having a breakup or a divorce or anything like that, like, I find that a lot of times they go hard in the opposite direction and not want sex because they couple it with relationships.
Yep.
But
Yep.
also, it's okay to acknowledge your sexuality
Yep.
and desires and
Yep.
needs. And you can also
just want to go have companionship. It's
Yeah.
okay to just have some casual sex
Yes.
if you understand the intention behind it and know what you're fulfilling in that for yourself. So I don't know. That's kind of what's coming up there.
Oh, I'm glad you said it exactly the way you did, because I have, that's been the journey, right? Like going from 9 months and 11 months celibate, like two different bouts of celibacy, and they're
Mhm.
intentional. Because
Mhm.
trust me when I say, if I want it, I'll go find it, and not in the worst way either. Like I'll still
Yeah.
be irresponsible about it, but I also want to be responsible for what's right, like you said, what is the intention here? And
Mhm.
so if it is that it's casual, that's fine and wonderful and great. I think consensual casual sex is
Mhm.
fine and healthy, and
Yeah.
especially when there's communication involved. I think that that's the key, because I've definitely done the one night stand thing, and that's, it leads to so many questions.
Mhm.
It can lead to STDs, and it can,
For
or
sure.
pregnancy. And so I think that the journey it still comes back to the self. How
Mm.
do you relate to yourself the next morning or
Mhm.
the next week, whether it be casual or intimate and intentional. And so I
Mhm.
think that that has been a huge part of it, because there's been guys that I'm dating and I really like, and I'm still holding out on intercourse because I want to choose. I want to be at choice and it not be an
Mhm.
impulsive, in the
Yes.
moment, carried away decision. And so you can really like somebody and not have sex with them. You can not like
Mhm.
anybody at all and have sex with them. Like the options are endless.
Exactly. They are not mutually like,
No.
yes.
Yeah.
I love that. And I think too, just having this conversation, helping to destigmatize or releasing shame that is held around casual
Yes.
sex for women still to
Yes.
this day.
Oh, yes.
So yeah, thank you for going there.
Yeah.
And I love that we've touched on uh, multiple points already about, sex not being validation, not equaling love. So feel free to just, share more of that. Yeah, go
Yeah, I
for it.
would love to. I'm gonna take it a little deeper then in that case.
Yes, please.
um, and the reason I say that is because you introduced me. I'm a clarity coach.
Mm,
My areas of expertise are subconscious reprogramming and emotional intelligence. And
mm,
so I would love to just say, the taking a look for the people listening, taking a look at why sex might be special or important or casual or whatever, why you do what you do, who you know yourself to be. And I'm very also casually mentioning I feel unlovable. Like people don't know that. I spent a year in a coaching program realizing why do I behave that way? Or I'm going to bring in like a totally unrelated sort of topic, but equivalent is when I was in that coaching program, I was thinking I'm from Northwest Indiana, very Midwest
mm,
mindset. Again, the white picket fence, the American dream, all that. And
mhm,
so I thought I had to work I became a teacher. That was my degree. And so I thought I'd be a teacher for 30, 40, 50 years, do a really good job, save up for
mhm.
retirement, then go on vacations, then live that dream life or, whatever.
Yeah.
And so, and have kids, have the husband. And that was just something I observed. It was it was just what I saw, what I knew,
Mhm,
what was told and believed was success. And the reason I wanted to bring that in as a side piece is we believe relationships look mostly how we observe them,
yep.
whether we observe them in real life, because good Lord, our real life examples can be all over the place. And then what we observed in the Disney movies or on the
Mhm,
TV or now on our phones. And so most of our ideas are not our own.
yep.
Most of our ideals of success, love, relationship are not our own.
Mm,
Even things we think we're passionate about. My mom was the basketball player, really, and I ended up playing college basketball. I loved her love. I was passionate about what she was passionate about because she thought, my daughters will play basketball. And good Lord, I love my mom. Like, she did her damn best. She gave us an amazing life, and
Mm.
she gave us her life, you
Yeah.
know, and no fault to her own. She was doing her best, and we certainly have plenty of beautiful memories. But, you know, I got all the way to college basketball and tore my knee,
Mm.
and that was also a major, like divorce, tearing my ACL as a sophomore was a huge identity crisis because I was no longer the player I literally always knew I was. And so that made a major adjustment, but it was still 3 more years of suffering. I was not ready to give up my basketball player, college athlete, All-American identity. So I had 5 knee surgeries because I couldn't give it up, right?
Oh,
It
yeah.
was it was after college. I became a basketball coach
Mm.
as I was an gym teacher, and so like that identity still was strung along far beyond
Yeah.
its time being over. And so because of my beliefs, because of my self-image. And so our self-image will keep us in, whether that be a relationship, a career, a hobby, an identity,
Mm-hmm.
far beyond its use. Excuse me. Far beyond its true path.
Yeah, realizing it served its purpose. And I was actually jotting that down as you're talking because, like,
Yeah.
your identity growing up and, into college. And what about identity within a partnership?
Oh my God.
We talk about how the relationship can grow, but what if one partner is having more expansive growth
Hmm.
and you're not going to have them at the same time? And that's normal and okay, as long as the other partner is supportive of that. But when the partner is not, and
Hmm.
one partner is going on this journey and expanding and growing, what, like, thoughts do you have on that?
Yeah.
Of, almost, I don't want to ever, I say, you can always work through things if
Hmm.
both partners are willing. However, if
Right.
one is not, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I think you see where I'm going
Oh,
with that. It's not a specific
I
question, but
loud and clear, girl. So I love that question because I think it is probably the question of a lifetime. It's a really important question because I work with a lot of single persons in partnership, in
Mhm.
marriages. And I am going to start by saying, well, first off, I'm technically divorced twice, right? And so I think that comes with, and I'm all about leave if that's what there is to do.
Mhm.
But I
Mhm.
am actually not a huge proponent for divorce. Like, I'm not the breakup coach or anything like that, right? However, I do help people heal from heartbreak and process things.
Mm.
The other thing is, hmm, there's this whole don't touch the big red button
Mm.
component here,
Mm.
which is people sometimes are so married to the idea of marriage
Yeah.
that they won't consider breakup or divorce or separation. Therefore, they can't have the true breakthrough
Mm. Yeah.
that they need to have because they won't go there. So
Yeah.
we're going to untangle this a little bit because I'm not saying that I want that person to divorce their wife or husband. I'm
Mhm.
saying I want them to consider doing it because the don't touch the big red button it makes it always an option and makes it
Mhm.
this taboo piece of the puzzle that then if they never explore it, they can't have the full level of consideration because then they're a victim of the making of the unfolding of the life, right? So if
Yeah.
they don't choose, they are not at choice here. Because if they were to choose, they could choose divorce, but
Mhm.
if that's an option, a true option that they've considered, then they also have to choose their marriage,
Yeah. Oh, I love
right?
that. Yeah.
And so you have to be able to go there in your head and your heart. Okay, let's map out. How would you leave? What would you
Mhm.
do next? How would you support yourself? What would you do with the kids? What would you do? Where would you live? There and however many components there, you have to walk your way through that and say, I could do that.
Mhm.
I could do that and I'm gonna do that. Or I could do that and that is not at all what I want to do.
Yeah.
So now they've actually chosen,
Yeah. I love that.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that too because to have people touch that really scary edge will
Mhm.
have them being in charge of their life.
Exactly. Yes, because if you don't and you're avoiding, then you're a victim of,
Mm.
or you're just, like you said, you're just falling in line with what you think you should be doing. Like, oh, I don't want to leave my partner. I love them. We have this life that we've built together. But also, what is this other option? And fully allowing yourself to go there allows you to be empowered in your
Mhm.
choices. And I just
Totally.
love that you went there with that, because
Yeah.
I feel like that is a very scary thing for a lot of people. And I'm not saying, yes, go get a divorce, but I'm saying, what are your options?
Yeah. I would love to. So, in the technical sense, I'm speaking about what I call shadow work. So
Mm,
people might
mhm,
have heard this term, and
mhm,
I want to bring it in because it's the scary stuff. It's the hidden, compartmentalized, suppressed, tucked away stuff that we
mhm,
refuse to look at that haunts us and festers in our body. It festers in our relationship. And I wrote down here to remember what you resist persists.
mm,
So if you resist considering the worst case scenario, and I'm not talking about catastrophizing and ruminating, I'm
mm,
talking about thoroughly processing the worst case scenario to not then be afraid of it. It's not the boogeyman, right?
yeah,
When you face your fears, you realize it's probably a scared inner child who needs some attention. You and I know that, right?
yep.
So I want to say that about our weight loss journey, about our fitness journey, about our financial journey. For me, relationship has put me through a lot of inner growth, but so has my financial journey
Mhm,
because of the way I was raised and the way things turned out. But also, I want to say with our mental health journey, with our
mhm,
intrusive thoughts, with suicidal ideation. I'm being very careful about saying this because I am not a licensed therapist or a medical professional.
mhm,
However, I work with people through processing true depression or those deepest darkest fears and thoughts and
mhm,
again ideations that if they were to give them the light of day,
mhm,
the human is able to take their power back from those intrusive thoughts or the scary or the ruminations like I should leave him, I should leave him, I should leave him, I should leave him, I can leave him, I'm gonna leave him. Okay, then leave
right.
him.
And do it. Yeah.
Yeah, let's do that thought, right?
Yeah.
And then they're like, No, wait a minute, I didn't really mean it." It's like, so okay, so then what are you getting out of that? Right? And we have
Mhm.
to actually explore what that's about. But what you resist is going to knock your door down, right? It'll it'll tap you on the shoulder. It'll say, "Hey, hey," and then it'll pat you on the cheek like, "Hey,
Uh-huh.
hey," and then it's just gonna roundhouse kick you in the face, right? Like, "Hey." And so then you're in a mess of a life and you don't know how you got there and you don't know how to get out. It's because you're suppressing all sorts of stuff and
Yeah.
exploring that is incredibly important.
Oh, yeah. Mark and I touched on that on our last podcast about family dynamics and how we're always trying to subconsciously recreate the family dynamics that we had. And when you're in a partnership, like those aren't going to be the same. And
Yeah.
so, if you are avoiding going to that thought of divorce or whatever in this scenario,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Because your parents got divorced and
Mm,
you are it was you know traumatic to your childhood, whatever, and so you're avoiding that because it has this charge to it.
mm,
Give it more, lean into it, give it
mm.
more attention so it loses its charge and you can actually be empowered in making that decision when you were disempowered as a child. So like you said,
Totally.
that shadow work, right? And so,
Yes.
oh, just so good, so good.
Yes. You know what? I also realized I didn't totally answer your question about what do we
Oh.
do when one partner's growing and the other's not. And
Mhm.
so there's the shadow work, which is, and that's, it's still the same answer in a different way, which is you can only control you.
Yeah.
You can do your best. But I teach this to every client I start with, my made up law of transformation. By nature, when an element transforms, the elements around it transform as well.
Mm.
So you don't have to insist your partner does work, especially from the start. If you're starting your journey, girl, guy, do your own shit.
Yes.
People will come along, people will fall off, and people
Mhm.
will come along. And so it is a self game. Totally. You cannot control others. You cannot make others be passionate about what you're passionate about. We have to face those
Mhm.
facts, and we have to allow people to decline the request to change. We have to allow people the ability, because we're making requests, not demands. And
Mhm.
if we are making demands, then we also have to face the consequences when people don't accept or fulfill those demands. Right.
Yep.
And so we can encourage somebody, but I want to give, like, a tree is a great example. As a tree grows, it's just by nature. It's growing, it's getting bigger. Now its branches are widening, its leaves are coming through, and it's creating tree shade.
Mm.
And so the grass around it is growing, is getting different sunlight and nutrients. Now it's pulling nutrients from the soil away from the plants and animals around it. And
Mm.
so the tree is not doing anything to anything else. It's being a tree, it's growing, it's
Mhm.
evolving, it's going through its seasons. And by nature, the of ecosystem, it will cause a change with the elements around it. So the ecosystem that exists around you, in your family, in your home, in your career, will transform around your
Mhm.
transformation without you lifting a finger on anybody else.
That is like the most amazing analogy.
Thank you.
I freaking love that so much because my brain is literally going,
Yeah.
it makes so much sense.
Yeah. And so we just have to grow. That's our only job. I
Yeah.
want to give someone a major perspective shift is, if you were just pl- plucked right out of your life, plopped anywhere else on this planet,
Mhm.
right? It's still, you are your only job. You
Yeah.
have to live, you have to breathe, you have to grow. And this helps me in very stressful times. So, like, I talk to myself. This is very good for anxiety too, by the way. Like, I built my own van. I converted this van into a camper. It's my living space. I love it. But during the 4 months I took to build it, I was very stressed about work. I put
Mhm.
a lot of, I only sustained my business. I didn't grow it. And you know me well enough. I love to be present online. I love to grow my business. I love to share transformation.
Mhm.
And during the van build, I felt like I was at capacity. So I had to slow down on business a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, I started to talk to myself about, no, my business is my van. My van is my business. It
Mm.
is my job to build this. And when it's done, I will rebound snap right back to sharing and
Mhm.
being as writing as much as I like. And so your business is what's right in front of you.
Yeah.
Sometimes making your bed is your business. Sometimes listening to your husband is your business. Sometimes attending to your crying child, that's just your business. We think, oh, I got to go make a new client. Oh, I got to go run that errand. I got to drop the mail. And it's like, yeah, when it's that time.
Mhm.
But if you think you're being distracted by something, it's very likely that's God and universe's call to you. Hey, I need you right here, right now. This is your business. I'm making this your business. And so if you are your business, your growth, your heart, your well-being is your business, and then you can tend to whatever else is calling.
Ah, yes. Yeah, I love that. And that's something I heard something very similar to that like years ago. It was Ed Milet talking about how like having a work-life balance is bullshit. Like
Yes.
it doesn't exist. You have
Mm,
to give your whatever you are focused on in that moment gets your full attention and
yeah.
everything else falls to the wayside. And I struggled with that personally for so many years being, working from home in direct sales with two young kids. And I'm doing this business because I want to be at home with my kids and be that stay-at-home mom / work at home mom. But then I'm like, oh, but I'm not keeping up with these people and I'm not growing and we're in different seasons of life. We're in different, what is my focus? My focus is to be at home with my kids.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, I can maintain my business and bring in income.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
my focus was not to grow the business.
Yeah.
And so taking away a lot of guilt that
Yes.
originally brought and within partnership as well, like you can't hold on to guilt that you're growing and your partner is choosing not to.
Yeah. Yep.
So
Yeah. There's one more thing I wanted to say, which is because this is helpful for people, like it's something they could take right into their lives immediately, is shoulding. Don't should on yourself, right? Or I'll tell clients you're shoulding all over the place right now. And if you're saying should, you're beating yourself up, you're being overly critical, you're probably prescribing yourself a task that's not necessary. Or like you said with different seasons, like you get to be home with your kiddos, live in, like raise them, you can bring income in whether you do or you don't. Like who said what? What rule was cast upon you that it had to go a certain way? We do that to shit to ourselves, and God bless.
Exactly. Yes. And like with the shoulding, it's when that comes up, I should be, is usually you projecting someone else's belief into your life. And I'm like,
Amen.
so when you hear yourself say that, pause and reflect and be like, who did I hear this from? Or how was this presented in my life?
Yeah.
And does that actually resonate with me?
Yeah. Do I believe that shit?
Yeah. Is that actually something that's beneficial to me? Probably not. So
yes, we have to question. We have to question.
Yeah. I love it. Oh my gosh.
I love this too.
This is such a good conversation. And I'm just so giddy being able to talk to you.
Me too.
It's taken me back to our, coaching days, like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
When working together.
So beautiful. So beautiful what you've created.
Thank you. Thank you for helping me on my journey and being a part of that. And I'm just so grateful to everything that you've shared and then also been, supportive and witness to. And
I think especially for the listeners, because I imagine you share very vulnerably in your episodes too. And I do on the Hearts Unleashed podcast. And I want people to know and then be able to remember it's not always perfect. It's not always awesome. And that doesn't mean you're not transforming. It doesn't mean you're not evolving, right? Because 2 years ago, you started, and are there days and times and seasons, or especially during the growth periods, all of a sudden you're scared all over again, or all of a sudden you're questioning everything. It's part of the growth. Like if you're not scared, it's likely you're not growing. Or if you're not slightly uncomfortable a lot of the time, it's likely that you might be being pushed into a growth season. So I just want to say that because doesn't mean there's not tears. It doesn't mean there's not fears. So growth, transformation, evolution, yes, is a lot of the time much more rewarding and like fulfilling. And like there's a lot of gratitude and beauty I experience in life because of the work I've taken on, but that doesn't mean I'm invincible or you're invincible. So I think that people need to know that, not to just to incorporate a lot more grace for when it's not all awesome.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh. So much so. Yes. Yeah. Just giving yourself a little extra love in those moments and saying, it's okay. I will get through this. Yeah.
It's all going to be all right.
Oh, yes. Let's see. Is there anything else that we needed to circle back to I feel like we've rounded that out beautifully and covered a lot. Perfect. Yeah, I like that. So I will ask just one last thing, and that would be, what would you love to tell younger Abigail about sex, love, or relationships? What advice would you want her to have?
I love that. I'm going to answer it.
Yeah.
And I'm going to do a 30-second story.
Sure.
When I was 28, I had just moved to California. I moved in with my grandpa to get started because I didn't know what I was going to do, where I was going to go, how I was going to be. Also just started my business. And I was still in student debt, and I was also in consumer debt, like my car,
Mm.
I had credit cards, and I was getting panicked about that. And I asked him for a personal loan, and I said, I want to consolidate because you guys know, gosh, once interest hits and you just can't get ahead. And I was so
Mhm.
scared. I was still very young relatively. And so I asked him for a personal loan and I would pay him back so I can consolidate everything. He goes, nope, got yourself in this, you're going to get yourself out.
Ooh,
And I was like,
not where I thought you were going with that.
yeah. And and so, but he goes, you didn't have to go to Catholic college. You didn't have to buy that car. You didn't have to do this way. He told me all that. And what happened in my mind, I was disappointed, but I said, I loved my Catholic college experience. I loved playing basketball in college. Like truly, I know I said it was dramatic, but I also have a lot of pride or I'm happy about it. And I loved using that credit card for that reason. And I loved starting that business. And even though it caused me debt, I decided in my head the same way, like I said earlier about considering divorce. I considered all my debt for real, for real. And I
Mm-hmm.
said, I would spend every dollar again the same way. Like I loved the way my life went. And so when you asked that question, I remembered that memory. And I would love to tell little Abigail a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
And I also, this journey has been so fucking trying. Oh my God. It's been so heartbreaking and identity dissolving.
Mm,
But if I could tell her, one thing, because I wouldn't change it, I wouldn't
right.
change anything. But I just would love for her to remember over and over again, like, you are so lovable, you are so divine. And I would encourage her to meet herself and be herself just much sooner,
Yeah.
Um, yeah, just like you are so good, girl, and you have so many gifts, and please use them and love them and harness them and share them. I think I've
Mm-hmm.
always been doing that, but there's just always that nagging anxiety. And if I could alleviate her of any of that sooner, I certainly would.
Ah, that is beautiful. Because yeah, like we don't need to change things, but if we just had a little bit understanding or just support, like it's gonna
Grace.
work out. It's gonna work out.
Yeah,
You've got
at
this.
that. It's gonna work out.
Yeah.
I actually had an inner child moment while I was building the van. I'm sorry, I keep dragging this on, but I
No,
just love
go for it.
So I had this 16-year-old vision, and she was sitting on my mom's back porch. I went to
Mhm.
high school at this house that my mom still lives at. And I was sitting on the back porch, like overwhelmed with gratitude in real time at age 33. And so I was sitting on the back porch and I just had a really good day with my dad. He had helped me with the plumbing. And I was sitting there thinking, it, the 16-year-old was sitting there and she was actually crying. She was upset about something. And I looked to my right and I'm like, girl, there is no, it gets better than you can ever fathom. It gets so good. So whatever you're crying about right now, that ends, it goes away.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever other heartbreak, whatever other hardships, like no matter how lonely you feel, no matter how bad you think it gets better than you can possibly think of. So don't get too bummed out, girl. It gets better.
Oh, that is so perfect.
Yeah,
Mhm.
life is so good and it gets
Yeah,
to be
it
good. And I
really is.
hope that everybody
Mhm.
remembers that.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing with us today. I just loved sitting with you and hearing all of that. Where can our listeners find you?
Yeah,
And I'll link it in the show notes, but yeah, where they
that's
can.
great. Yep. Two easy places, heartsunleashed.com. There's a lot of our
Mhm.
community there and community programs and memberships and courses. And then abigailgazda.com. That's a little bit more me and my books and my
Mhm.
courses and whatnot. So if you find me there, you'll find me everywhere. I'm in Instagram. I say Instagram is my love language. So if you want to meet me there, I share in my stories all the time.
Yeah.
But I love being on social media and I love connecting with people. So if someone has really resonated with today, they can reach out, shoot me a DM, an email, fill
Mhm.
out the contact form, whatever works. But would love to support people on
Mhm.
their journey.
Yes, I love that. Thank you so much, Abigail. It was an absolute pleasure speaking with you today. And everybody, I hope you enjoyed this conversation, and we'll see you next week. Bye.
Thank you so much for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed the show. Make sure you hit the subscribe button so you never miss an episode. If you found this helpful, entertaining, or both, please take a quick minute to give a rating and review. That would mean the world to us, and it helps other beautiful humans to find our show. We'll see you next week.